Hello again, St. Joseph kiddos. It's Miss Ginnup, and I still miss you so much, and I hope you're doing well at home. I am continuing to read and to play instruments. I'm going to upload some instrument videos soon. I'm hoping. I have been taking this week as spring break. I hope spring break is going well for you guys too, and you're having a lot of fun. I've been playing ukulele, so I hope to upload some ukulele videos for you and maybe even show you how to play ukulele, but that only works for those of you who have ukulele. So anyway, I hope you're practicing recorder. I hope a few of you took recorders home and are practicing your recorders. I'm going to upload a website that I've been working on that has all the links to the recorder stuff you need to learn. And then if you don't have recorders, I have some YouTubes of songs that we like to sing, like Joshua Fought the Battle, Jericho, Pharaoh, and other songs that we've been singing through the year. And I want those of you who don't have recorders to work on those songs at home, just singing them in the background. So that's the update from now. But now I'd like to continue reading our story of the Way of the Cross. If we're still in our purple book, today is a Friday. And this Friday is Friday, the 5th week of Lent. We are walking on the Way of the Cross. And then we're starting with this Station of the Cross, number 11. Jesus is nailed to the cross. And number 12, Jesus dies on the cross. So we're making our way through Lent, aren't we? We're getting towards the end. In fact, this coming Sunday is a very special Sunday, and I'm sad to not go to church because this coming Sunday is Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday. And we call this week Palm Sunday. These days lead up to Easter Sunday. Oh, we call this week Holy Week, and these days lead up to Easter Sunday. Then Christians remember the story of Jesus' passion, death, and resurrection. And these next ones here. Then when we go to church on Sunday or stay home from church on Sunday, we would normally be given a palm branches. I don't have any palm branches with me at home, but I kind of think of these plants here kind of like a palm branch. And they were given to Jesus. It says this marks the day that Jesus rode on the back of a donkey into the city of Jerusalem. His followers waved branches to greet him. They wanted him to be their king. They shouted, Hosanna, which means live long. Long live. Sorry, you're getting all the mistakes, and that's okay. So I wanted to encourage you this week, as it's a special week for us leading up to Holy Week, to do the Stations of the Cross, read through the Stations of the Cross, and I will just review those, and then I'll read our 2 new ones for today, and then I'll read you a story about one of the saints that we met in the Stations of the Cross. So the first station is Jesus was condemned to death. Second station was Jesus made to carry the cross. The third station is Jesus falls for the first time under the cross. Fourth station is Jesus is met by his mother. Fifth station is Simon of Cyrene helps carry the cross. Sixth station is Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. Now, after we read this, Veronica is the one I want to read about after this. 7, Jesus falls the second time. 8, the women of Jerusalem mourn for Jesus. 9, Jesus falls the third time. 10. Jesus is stripped of his garments. And that's where we left off last time. We'll go to 11. We'll read the part. 11 is Jesus is nailed to the cross. The guards laid Jesus on the cross and hammered iron nails through his hands and feet. They hung him up to die while others mocked his suffering. Dear God, when I see violent people win, may I continue to believe in peace. Jesus dies upon the cross. For several long hours, Jesus hung upon the cross. He asked God to forgive those who had treated him so cruelly. He asked his friend John to be a son to his mother. He pleaded with God to tell him why he had been left alone to suffer. And then he died. Dear God, in the face of death, may I continue to believe that you give life. Next time, we'll continue with our next and last stations in this book called The Story of the Cross. Alright, but before I go back to this book, 115 Saintly Fun Facts by Bernadette McCarver Snyder. Having a lot of fun with this book. And I found an entry about Saint Veronica, which is the one we read about in the Stations of the Cross, where she wiped Jesus' face. So I didn't know anything about her until I came across the story in this book. So I thought it was very interesting. This is the one I thought I'd share. All right, Veronica. No one knows much about this saint, but the one fact we do know is that her name was not Veronica. Here's the story. Suppose you saw a criminal coming down the street with a crowd following him, and the criminal looked real sad, and his face was all smeared with perspiration and blood, and then a woman dashes out of the crowd and gave the poor man a cloth to wipe his face. Well, that's what happened the day Jesus was crucified. Jesus had been condemned as a criminal and was carrying his cross to the place where he would be crucified. Naturally, he looked real sad, and the day was so hot he was perspiring and his head was bleeding from the crown of thorns. But instead of trying to help him, the crowd was yelling and making fun of him. And then this one woman felt sorry for him, and she took the scarf, from her head and ran out and gave it to Jesus so he could wipe his face. Then Jesus gave the veil back to her, and she looked and saw it had the image of Jesus' face on it. No one really knows who the woman was or what happened to her after that, but legend says that she became a Christian, and before she died, she gave the veil to Pope Clement. So, why do we call her Veronica? Well, that's the Latin for true image. And since Jesus left the true image of his face on her veil, she became known as Veronica. What do you think Jesus really looked like? Close your eyes and try to imagine how he looked that day and when he saw Veronica. Then, try to imagine how he looks today when he looks at you. Here's the picture. So, that is the tidbit about religion that I have for us today, for this Friday. Mrs. Bogue put some good stuff up on the Facebook page for Holy Week and doing Holy Week things together as a family, and I downloaded that, but I haven't done it yet, so I'm excited to look at that for myself. And then an exciting thing that I saw that Mrs. Lambert showed me is that musicals are going to be streamed freely once a week, every Friday. This composer, musician named Andrew Lloyd Webber. He's phenomenal, and if you've seen, I don't know if you would have seen any of his musicals yet, but One that I showed you a clip of, some of you, before we left, was about Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And it's a very fun musical, a little funky. Like I showed some of it to you. Some of you might remember he was in a prison, but in the scene he was in a prison where it was the bars were just coming out of the ground, and then people were around him in this like blue light. And then they were singing the song Go, 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 Joseph, and doing a lot of dancing. And I think I taught some of you how to do the pony. Anyway, that is free starting tonight. So I think it's only on there free for 48 hours. But that's a very fun musical to watch. You would get music, religion, because it's about Joseph in the Old Testament, and technology, because you're using YouTube. So you get your parents' help for that. Make sure you're getting permission to do that. But I highly recommend seeing that one. Next week is Jesus Christ Superstar, and that one I absolutely love. But that's one you're going to want to ask your parents about too, if you can see that one, because it's about Jesus dying. So, all right. Thanks for staying with me. If you watch this whole 11-minute video, thank you. And I miss you guys, and I will see you when I see you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.